Close-Up is brought to you by the Kia Sorento R, redefining the power of Kia.
6 scientists in Italy have been found guilty of multiple manslaughter after making reassuring statements ahead of a deadly earthquake. The defence argument that there's no way to predict a quake didn't wash. Would it here? And what does it mean if seismologists are held to account for the way they communicate risk? We've seen people here heading to the beach to see what a tsunami looks like. Joining me now from Christchurch is structural engineer Stefano Pampinin, who specialises in natural disasters. He works in Christchurch, but he also knows some of the men now facing prison in Italy. Stefano, thanks for joining us. Look, if scientists are being threatened with jail in Italy, are you and your colleagues going to start getting nervous?
Yeah, very good question. Actually, we started getting nervous a few months ago, or probably 1 year ago, when the process was initiated and was not stopped due to lack of evidences, which would have been the case. There were thousands of signatures coming from all over the world into a letter going to the President of the Republic in Italy saying that it doesn't make any sense. The prediction of earthquakes is not yet in the humankind toolkit. And so if you really want to do something which is politically driven, you should be trying to do something else than mixing politics with science.
So you were shocked by the mere fact that they were even charged, let alone found guilty?
Absolutely, not only myself. Many people in our position thinking that the job of a scientist is to learn as much as possible, pass on the information, and the question would be, the comparison to the New Zealand practice would be basically to think that the scientist should have been jailed for not being able to predict the February aftershock after the September event and the Boxing Day event. And no one ever thought about it. So just a simple question in New Zealand, I wish to think about New Zealand being in this sense a more civilized country, would have been a laugh.
Is what they were charged with not so much predicting the earthquake, but how they quantified the risk?
Apparently that's the case, and initially was the concern was about the prediction. Then when the predictability of the earthquake was not anymore the strong tool to go ahead, then I understand that the sort of a catchy problem became more the communication of the risk. So the responsibility apparently of a commission of scientists to ask to evacuate or not to evacuate or suggest to evacuate a city. So you start wondering whether this is in the scientist's duty. It could have been in the contract. I wonder if that was really reasonable in a way. And again, think about here, it would have been the responsibility, the allocation responsibility of evacuation of a city for maybe 300 years, telling to Christchurch population after a few aftershocks, the alpine fold can rupture and you might want to leave the country for a while and come back in 500 years.
Is this then going to make scientists overly cautious? They either will not say anything or couch what they say in, in such generalities that'll be meaningless.
It's strange, thank you. It's strangely enough, it's actually something that we can't avoid to keep in our brain. And the fact in itself that I'm actually here being available, just imagine the world with scientists saying, thank you, no thank you, we're not available. We'll be just not doing anymore our job, which is to, again, learn and disseminate the knowledge, because the consequences of that are going to be legal consequences for us and our family. It just doesn't make any sense.
Of course, this is personal for you. You know some of these scientists involved. You worked with them over there in the wake of the quake.
Yeah, in a way, these scientists some of them are in our area, are internationally renowned. So not only I know them because I come from Italy, the same place, so basically they're from the same country, but they are keynote speakers at major conferences, so they have been working hard all their life, and finding this sort of attack, which is hardly technical, is offensive and is going to destroy, has already been destroying their reputation, their professional and private life. And I don't think this is what we hope that our community should be aiming for.
Stefano Pampinin, thank you so much for joining us from Christchurch, and we wish your colleagues well with the appeal. So, what do you think? Should scientists here be held to account over what they say? For example, before the February Christchurch quake? Go to our website or email us at closeup@tvnz.co.nz, and of course we're on Facebook too. We've got the debate already started there.